Welcome back to Golf Extra. Golf as entertainment isn't just made enjoyable by the players on the course and the incredible shots that they hit weekend after weekend. It's also made memorable by the announcers and broadcast crews who bring those moments to us at home. Arguably, most crucial to an iconic golf moment, though, is the broadcast call itself, framing a huge moment and giving it additional gravity. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this one. Now, let's get right into the greatest broadcast calls in the history of golf. 1997 Masters, Jim Nantz. The Masters has typically been a very competitive tournament, filled with pressure down the stretch and tight leaderboards long past Amen Corner. For a young 21-year-old Tiger Woods, though, there was hardly any pressure as he rounded the bend with a historic lead in the 1997 Masters. The tournament, which would be his first major championship victory of 15 to this point in his career, was capped off not only by a stellar round of 69 by Woods to take him to 18 under and a 12-stroke margin of victory. In addition, it was also finished off by an all-time great call by Jim Nantz, who proclaimed as Tiger's final putt dropped on the 18th hole, "There it is, a win for the ages." The call was not only iconic in its own time given the all-time great margin of victory for Woods, but it also holds a great place in history given what Woods would accomplish later in his career. 2001 Masters, Jim Nantz. Speaking of what Woods would accomplish later in his career, we don't have to go too far in the future to look at the next great call on our list, which also took place at Augusta 4 years after Tiger's first major victory. By this time, Tiger was well on his way to rewriting the golf record books, having won multiple major tournaments including the 2000 U.S. Open, the 2000 Open Championship, and the 2000 PGA Championship. So, with a win at the 2001 Masters, Tiger would do something never before done in golf: hold all 4 major championships at once, something the media dubbed the Tiger Slam. He closed out the tournament with a 2-stroke victory over David Duval, and Jim Nantz rang in the victory by saying the win was as grand as it gets. Again, Jim Nantz had his finger on the pulse of the moment and made an iconic call. That's being a great broadcaster. 2004 Masters, Jim Nantz. Are you tired of hearing Jim Nantz calls yet? We certainly hope not, because the longtime voice of golf has had plenty of great moments in his time. Another one of these iconic calls came at the 2004 Masters, when Phil Mickelson was not only seeking his first Masters championship, but also his first major championship after several near misses. Mickelson kept close to the lead all weekend, but needed to pull away from a 54-hole deadlock with Chris DeMarco. Mickelson did exactly that, riding a 5-under back 9 holes to overtake several competitors, and he finished it off with a birdie putt on the 18th hole that Nantz punctuated by exclaiming, "Is it his time? Yes, at long last." It was a fitting level of emotion for the first big win of the fan favorite, and he would carry the momentum into several more major championships in the next few years. 2001 Players Championship, Gary Koch, Johnny Miller. Up until now, we've only looked at iconic calls from the Masters. Let's look at one from the 2001 Players Championship. On his way to his first Players Championship victory, unofficially considered as the 5th major, Woods needed a long putt on the iconic Island 17th green to keep himself in the tournament while trailing Jerry Kelly. The 60-foot double-breaking putt looked impossible, but Gary Koch and Johnny Miller followed the ball's meandering path with an increasingly excited call. "This is better than most. How about in? Better than most. Better than most." The call typifies the excitement that Tiger's play style elicited and adds so much power to this incredible putt. 1986 Masters, Verne Lundquist. Now, let's throw it back a little bit. After all, there were plenty of great golf calls back in the days before Tiger and Phil were dominating big tournaments. In fact, there's another golfer in the GOAT conversation who has a few iconic moments of his own. And perhaps no moment was bigger for Jack Nicklaus than the 1986 Masters. Nicklaus hadn't won a major championship since 1980, and some pundits thought the game had passed him by. Trailing by 4 strokes going into the tournament's final round, Nicklaus made a wild charge up the leaderboard, shooting an incredible round of 65 on the tournament's final day. No moment from this charge was more iconic than on the 17th hole, when Nicklaus holed an 18-foot putt after some deliberation, which elicited an exciting call of, "Yes, sir!" from the venerable Verne Lundquist as Nicklaus held his putter high aloft. 1986 Masters, Jim Nantz. That's right, we're doubling down on the 1986 Masters, but who could blame us? After all, one of the most famous tournaments in the history of the sport. After that putt on the 17th, you might think that Nicklaus just quietly finished up his round and headed to the clubhouse to watch the rest of the results. Instead, Nicklaus kept up the pressure with a polished approach to the 18th hole, which he capped up with a 2-putt for par, which gave him a 1-shot lead. Given how far back of the lead he had been when he started the day, that fact in itself was remarkable, and a young Jim Nantz paid homage to the golf legend's Golden Bear nickname by proclaiming, "The bear has come out of hibernation." Nicklaus would need fellow legends Seve Ballesteros, Tom Kite, and Greg Norman to help him out as he waited, but after that call from Nantz, it's safe to say that the Golden Bear's swan song victory was an inevitable twist of fate. 2015 Masters, Jim Nantz. Perhaps the most underrated call on our list is Jim Nantz's call after Jordan Spieth completed his historic wire-to-wire victory at the 2015 Masters. The tournament itself was never really in doubt, with the young Spieth charging out of the gate with a round of 64 and a 3-stroke lead. Despite good play from several other players, including Phil Mickelson and Justin Rose, Spieth was just too good, and he was certainly deserving of praise from Nantz after the win, who cheered his incredible 72-hole effort by calling it one of the epic performances in the annals of the sport. It's a fitting highlight to one of the great major tournament performances in recent golf history. After all, the most dominant tournament wins are like Tiger's first Masters triumph in 2001, never in doubt to the brilliance of the winner. 1999 Open Championship, Peter Alliss. We can't make a list of the best golf broadcast calls without including a call of one of the more infamous moments in golf history. That is Jean Van de Velde's epic meltdown in the 1999 Open Championship at Carnoustie. With a 3-stroke lead going into the final hole of the major championship, Van de Velde looked primed to complete an iconic career achievement, needing only a mediocre score on the final hole to win the Claret Jug. Instead, Van de Velde pushed his drive far into the rough, then bounced an improbable attempt at reaching the green off of a grandstand into even deeper rough. From here, Van de Velde knocked his ball into a creek, and he was so rattled by the proceedings that he waded into the water to consider hitting the ball. Van de Velde would end up making triple bogey on the hole to end up in a playoff, where he lost the whole tournament. As legendary English broadcaster Peter Alliss aptly put it, his golfing brain deserted him. It's not anything that Van de Velde will want to remember, but for the typical golf fan, there are few things as relatable or memorable as Van de Velde's bad day at Carnoustie back in 1999. 2015 Masters, Vern Lundquist. If you're a golf fan, you know that this one has to be on the list, perhaps even more so than his iconic call of Nicklaus's putt on the 17th hole at Augusta in 1986. Lundquist's call is perhaps the greatest broadcast quote in the history of the sport. With a 1-stroke lead, Tiger was facing a nearly impossible pitch shot from approximately 20 feet out. CBS co-commentator Lanny Watkins commented that this is one of the toughest pitches on the entire place here, but we should know by now that nothing is too difficult for Tiger. Woods pitched a ball with perfect touch, letting it roll down the green before it toppled into the hole after briefly pausing on the rim. Lundquist narrated the unbelievable shot with the now iconic commentary, "Well, here it comes. Oh my goodness! Oh wow! In your life, have you ever seen anything like that?" The moment feels like it is straight out of a movie, and the commentary is the cherry on top. That's the mark of a great broadcast call, though. It adds to a great moment without upstaging it, and cements it in the memories of fans as one of the iconic events in the pantheon of the game. Comment with your thoughts and make sure to subscribe for more content just like this. We'll catch you in the next one.